Welcome everyone. This panel is part of a series for National Apprenticeship Week 2021. Through this series, Bitwise Industries is proud to share the journey of pre-apprentice to an apprentice to journey worker from inception of the Bitwise Industries model to the successful program that we have today. Today we will chat with a current Bitwise apprentice and a couple of people who have been through the program and have found careers at Bitwise Industries. We will hear each person's story of how they found their classes and what their experience was going through the apprenticeship program. My name is Arturo CEBALLOS. I'm the Director of Online Marketing here at Bitwise Industries, but I was formerly an apprentice as well, and I also lead a current online marketing apprenticeship. All right, so to my left we have
Miguel. I'm currently an online marketing analyst working under Arturo.
My name is Bree Lamb. I'm an online marketing apprentice under Arturo as well.
My name is Omar Cardenas. I'm an online marketing buyer, and I'm a former apprentice as well.
All right, well, it's question time. So Omar, I'm gonna start with you. Tell us a little bit about your background, what you were doing before you found Bitwise, and how you got here.
So a little bit about my background prior to Bitwise was I'm formerly incarcerated. So I went to prison, I got out, I landed a job, back to work program, which was cool. You know, I was making money, I was whatever. I ended up landing at Bitwise by accident. We had a safety meeting there at the building. I know nothing about Bitwise. I walk in and I was like, wow, this looks like Google or something. So I walk into my safety meeting, didn't think nothing of it. And a lady named Stephanie Moreno came to our classroom. She's like, why are you guys here? And everybody being an ex-felon was like, we don't want to tell people why we're here, you know, like we're ex-felons or whatever. And at the end of it, she got one of us to tell her why we were there. And she's like, you guys are the perfect people I'm looking for. Like, we're offering a free course for you guys if you guys are willing to take the chance and you know, try to learn something new. So I applied, obviously, but I wasn't really too into it at first. I was like, I put it on the back burner because, you know, I didn't think no one would take interest in me because I'm an ex-felon. So I was like, whatever. But as time went by, she kept persevering and like calling, and like other people that were in my group were calling. And eventually I ended up showing up to the first class, and I ended up taking the Salesforce class, and it was pretty awesome. I met great people and the community was just great.
Awesome. Bree, how about yourself?
Yeah, so before Bitwise, I was working at a chiropractic office, just kind of like doing the front office stuff for them. Wasn't something I wanted to stay at, and I was looking for like other options just because I wasn't interested in staying there anymore. And so I was actually driving down the freeway and saw the Bitwise Hive building, and I was like, that is so cool. It looks like a super cool place. So I went home, I looked up what Bitwise was, and then was thinking about signing up for a class, but it took me a while to actually do it just because I was nervous because I'd never done like coding or anything like that before. But then eventually I did sign up for one, and the classes were really, really good.
Cool. And Miguel, what about yourself?
How I even figured out what Bitwise was I was actually formerly incarcerated as well as Omar. I was fresh out of jail on bail, and I had a chance to get probation, but I needed to prove myself to the court that I was, you know, like trying to be that citizen that actually trying to change their life, you know, not just trying to get probation out to just anybody. So to prove myself, I had to go find work, and eventually that led me getting, I think, a part-time at Habitat for Humanity, but then that shortly ended as well, and I still had this felony on my record, even though I did accomplish getting probation. But I was kind of out of luck after that. But I think Stephanie as well went over to Workforce Connections at Manchester Mall and handed out flyers letting them know that there's free classes for people who've been formerly incarcerated as well. Yeah. So eventually I ended up getting a phone call because on my sheet I had put down one of my interests being technology. I mean, it wasn't anything specific. I just wanted to be, you know, a part of it. It's always been kind of like an interest to me growing up, you know. And I got the phone call, and they let me know about the class, and that's how I pretty much got started. I didn't even know it was in downtown. You know, I just knew it was a colorful building. Yeah. So, you know, thank God I found out.
Nice. Had Steph not gone in, how difficult do you think it would have been to get a job?
Currently, I still have a felony on my record, so I know I was denied at least 5 to 6 jobs through mail. Every job I applied for, every interview went perfect, and you know, eventually you feel good about it. You never get a phone call, but you get a letter in the mail saying, after your probation's over, maybe we can reconsider having you in, but that's not over for another 3 years. I'm supposed to be unemployed the whole time, so I thought it was, a stop to my life at that point.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
All right. So all of you took a class at some point. What was your experience in the very first class that you took? And how did you first learn about the apprenticeship program?
How I found out about the apprenticeship program is what I was saying earlier with kind of being called in and just, being announced to it. And when I did show up, I was like immediately just scared of the situation because it just looked like something beyond me.
This is for your Salesforce class?
Yeah, for this first Salesforce class. I think originally it was supposed to be coding, so I was even more nervous. And when I got in there, they said it was Salesforce, and I'm like, now I don't know why I'm here. Yeah, and I was like, all right, why not, right? Might as well stay here. And I didn't know at the time everyone else was also previously incarcerated. I thought I was kind of like, stand out, but then everyone kind of stated their story and why we're all here. And I think that's actually where I met Omar too. And eventually, the vibe of the class was just good. And Jake and Melissa, who were teaching at the time, they were really open and they never made you feel like you were alienated for being, previously incarcerated. So it was just a warming experience.
Being in a class with other formerly incarcerated people, did that make it easier? Like, did you feel more comfortable knowing that you could, you weren't, I guess, like sticking out?
Yeah, it did. And also made me feel like any mistakes that I would make, it wouldn't be like sectioned out as if somebody were coming fresh out of college making a mistake, like we're all on the same level, and it made it like easier to ask questions, easier to learn, easier to work with other people.
Yeah, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can feel intimidated when you're first going into a class, especially going into something that you don't know about for the first time. And you might feel like because you don't know, like you don't want to ask because you don't want to look.
Yeah, you don't want to look like what you feel like. You know?
Yeah, got you. How'd you find out about the apprenticeship program?
So how I found out about the apprenticeship was we ended up doing, I think it was a final week where we had to do projects for each of our teams. I think you were the leader and I was the leader of our own. And after we did the presentation, we actually killed it. So that's when we were introduced to Alex. And that's when he told us, like, Arturo's having an apprenticeship. I'm like, I don't know what Arturo is. And he's like, they're doing an online marketing apprenticeship soon. I'm like, I don't know what that is either. So eventually I'm just like, I got thrown into Salesforce and I learned like that. So, I think it's game time again. Yeah. And I did have an interest with like kind of wanting to know how YouTube ads work, how people get paid for just posting videos. And so I did have somewhat of an interest. So I knew it can be something else I can get my hands in.
Awesome. All right, cool. Bree, what was your experience like taking your first class, and how'd you find out about the apprenticeship program?
So the first class I took was Websites for Beginners, and I was super nervous about taking it just because I kept having that feeling of not being qualified to take a class like that, not having any background in it. But the first day of class was super good, just seeing people from so many different areas and walks of life, just coming together, trying to learn something new. So that definitely made me less nervous about taking it. The teachers, our instructors were great. They did a really, really good job of explaining things and answering all of our questions. It was a lot of fun.
Good. What, because you said you were nervous your first class, what kind of put your nerves at ease?
I think just seeing people after hearing everyone's stories of how they came to know about the class and why they were there, that made me a lot less nervous because I realized that everyone kind of didn't know anything about what we were learning about. So that made me a lot less nervous.
And how'd you find out about the apprenticeship program?
Yeah, so during the first class, a couple weeks into it, I had a meeting with Stephanie just to kind of get to know her a little bit and learn more about Bitwise and about the apprenticeships because they had kind of mentioned them during the class. And so she kind of filled me in on what it was, and I was like, that sounds like a cool thing. If I ever have the opportunity to do something like that, that would be super cool. And a year after taking the first class is when Stephanie called me and told me about the online marketing apprenticeship. And so I was kind of nervous to do it just because I was like, I don't know if I'd be good at online marketing. But she encouraged me to set up a meeting with you to learn more about it.
And Omar, what about you? So what was your experience like taking your first class, and how'd you find out about the apprenticeship?
My first experience taking the class was the same as Miguel. I walked in thinking I was going to take a coding class, and they switched it on us. And they're like, you're going to learn Salesforce. And I'm like, what's Salesforce? Like,
Yeah.
I already had Googled coding for a while. I was like trying to get the hang of what it was. Then I was like, all right, well, I mean, I'm already here. Might as well try it. But the thing that really brought me into the classroom, the setting, was like the part that everybody was an ex-Falcon. So like I got to relate to people, and not only that, but like what am I trying to say? Oh, the community. So the community, like no one was unaccepting. Like no matter who I met, or like everybody was new, but everybody from Bitwise was just accepting. They didn't care of your background. They didn't care. They were just trying to help you like learn. So that was really a big thing for me.
Awesome. And how did you find out about the online marketing apprenticeship?
While we were in the class, in the Salesforce class, they had mentioned that at the end of the class, there was going to be a couple people chosen to be in an apprenticeship. They didn't tell us what apprenticeship or nothing. Obviously, being in the class and not being the smartest student or whatever, I was like, there's no chance in hell that I'm going to get this, I was like, I seen Miguel in the corner sitting over there every day studying his butt off and like getting every answer. So I was like, But eventually, Stephanie told me about the online marketing apprentice. She's like, you look like a good fit. And you're going to meet with Arturo. And I was nervous. I was nervous when I met you. So
that actually brings me to my second question. When you were first invited to the apprenticeship program, what were your thoughts?
Oh, like I mentioned earlier, like my first thoughts were like doubt from the beginning, and then at the same time mixed emotions because I was happy. Like from the class that we were in, it was about 15, I want to say, and for me to get picked, I was just like stoked because I never was a student. I mean, a school student or anything. I never paid attention. I always like ditched or whatever. It wasn't that I wasn't smart. I just didn't apply myself. But I was just confused, doubting it, and just happy at the same time.
Why were you doubting it?
I was doubting it because like nothing's really ever given to us, nothing's free. There's always something attached to it, or like, no one's ever given like two cents or anything for us, especially as an ex-Falcon. When you should have marked as an ex-Falcon, it's hard to get a job. So if for you guys or for Bitwise to offer me an apprenticeship, it just felt surreal.
For sure. And Bree, what about you? What were your thoughts when you were invited to the apprenticeship?
First, I was surprised because it had been a while since I had taken the classes. So I was super surprised to hear from Stephanie, but really excited too because it was kind of like the thing that I was looking for. I was looking for that next step in life, and I was just really excited to see what would happen with it. Also a little bit nervous just because I'd never like worked in online marketing, and like I know a little bit about it from taking like classes in school, but not like much. So a little nervous, but overall like super excited for it.
And what about you, Miguel?
I didn't believe it at first. Like Omar was saying earlier, I just thought it was another opportunity just to kind of like get us excited and, just leave us behind. But when we both received the email, I think we called each other and we were just screaming like, schoolgirls in the car. I was leaving my probation office. I'm like, oh, dude, like I got it. Did you get it? And next thing you know, it was it.
Oh, yeah. Bree, so you're currently in the online marketing apprenticeship. What has that experience been like so far?
It's been really good. We've learned a ton of stuff, and like at a fast pace. We have a very good lead. No, but it's been for real. It's been really, really good. I feel like I've learned a lot about like different like ad campaigns and different like marketing, like different sources of like online marketing that I didn't really know about, and just it's a lot more like complex than I ever thought it would be, which is a good thing because like we're learning a lot. I think overall it's been a really good experience, and I'm excited to like see what else we continue adding to it and like new things to learn.
And Miguel and Omar, this is for you. So you were both in the very first online marketing apprenticeship. And you're both now journey workers. So can you share one or two experiences about the apprenticeship that you were in that you're grateful for? Let's start with Omar, yeah.
All right, I can start. Well, I'm grateful for the apprenticeship. First of all, I'm grateful because we got to meet you, and like you're down to earth and like accepting and everything. So like you made the process a whole bunch easier, like from doubting to like today. Like I'm confident now, but I wasn't confident, and then this. So like when I met you, I was like nervous, But I'm grateful for everything you taught me, because now I'm able to take that teaching that you instilled in me and pass it on to other people.
Thank you. What about you, Miguel? What are like one or two things about the apprenticeship that you're grateful for?
Man, that as much as we learned and what little time as we had before COVID hit, because everything we did like in person, it was just like, I don't know, like it was just a great experience, just learning all like everything from Google to YouTube to just even making graphics. When we all were like putting in our effort, we were all like we were kind of doing a little bit of everything together, like even just like even experiencing, even though if we didn't like full on go with it, it was still like so much to learn, and it's just something like I'm glad to have like on my resume. And not only that, working with you it's really humbling, like Omar was saying. And not only like do you deal with us and like trying to make sure that like we're learning enough, but you deal with like our outside life. And you know, with other places you wouldn't think that like people would care about that, you know. So it's really, you know, it's a great experience.
Okay, so what was going through the specialized formerly incarcerated course? What was that experience like for you?
It was actually great working with other felons, and like I said, you teaching us things that we didn't know nothing about. So I felt like you were teaching at the same pace to everybody, not just to like different people, and being able to learn something and like help somebody else at the same time that's current like in my position, or vice versa, them helping me, because there was times where I needed help too. So yeah. Just doing that was
Being in that class with people that you could relate to, did it make you feel more comfortable to be there? And like, was it a comfortable learning environment?
Yeah, like I mentioned, the people that were picked, I don't know if it was like purposely picked or like well picked, but like no matter who we're working with, it's always like we get to bond and we get to talk, and it's the community of Bitwise itself that makes the energy flow smoothly. So it was great working with other people that were in the same position that I was in.
Awesome. And Miguel, what was that experience like going through the formerly incarcerated specialized course? What were your thoughts on that?
Honestly, a lot of the way Omar felt, like just being around the people like you makes you feel really comforting. And a lot of the times I had us do group projects together, and using that teamwork together kind of made us all feel like the same way. Like not only can I do it, but we can all do it. And we all just kept inspiring each other throughout the whole classroom. And yeah, it was really fun.
That's great. All right, Bree, we haven't been to you in a bit. So why do you feel that the apprenticeship program is so important in cities like Fresno?
Yeah, I feel like it's so important because the connections you get to make with people like in your community is like super amazing. You meet so many different people, and it's cool because you like grow together in different things and you learn different things together. And I think it's like a good way to give back to the community too, because once you learn all these things, like if you don't stay with Bitwise, then you get to like take that with you and like help other places in your community kind of grow and learn new ways to do things.
I feel like the apprenticeship program is very important because Bitwise offers apprenticeship not only to everybody, but like it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, you're accepted at Bitwise. So when people accept other people, I think that's just a big like welcoming. Like it draws people. Like it drew me in, and never in a million years would I have thought that I would be working at a company like this. So I think it's very important. Yeah.
Awesome.
Honestly, because I think a lot of people don't think anything's going on in Fresno, and it kind of brings life to the city a little more, you know. And there's not a lot of community events that happen besides what happens in downtown, and kind of like spreading that out, bringing people like just from Clovis and Fresno and or, like anywhere around, kind of makes it more of like a well-spoken underdog city.
Yeah, that's awesome. At any point, because we've talked about growth a lot, and obviously like you have to get uncomfortable to do that. Have you ever been pushed to a point where like it was too much, or how's that been?
Like I was gonna say, okay. Push to the point of growth, you said?
Yeah, like I try to push you guys out of your comfort zone.
Oh yeah, that's every day. That was like the last 2 weeks have been hurtful, man. Like even with the vacation coming back, straight to the same thing.
Yeah.
Nah, but it is. It's like being pushed every day, but it just, you know, makes us more confident for the day after.
Yeah, I mean, looking back now, looking at where you're at today and looking back to where you started, how do you feel about that? Did you ever imagine that you'd be where you're at?
No, heck no. Like looking back at it, sometimes I do reminisce. I'm like, man, if I wouldn't have took this class, I wonder where I would be at. But you know, not thinking negatively or anything. But like I have grown so much, and I owe that to you because you inspired a lot of like growth in me. My mind has opened up to different things. I'm not just boxed into what I used to think. I'm able to think like different things.
We play golf now.
I play golf now. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Awesome. So looking back, like reflecting on your life in what, like the past year and a half, did you ever imagine that you would be where you're at today?
No, never. Like you know what Omar was saying. I don't know where I would be right now. I don't know what job I would be trying to hunt right now. I don't know where I would be like morally, you know, even if things went south eventually, or I just wouldn't know where I would be. And even then, I wouldn't recognize myself if I saw myself in the future from where I'm at now, you know.
Awesome, man. And Bree, what about you?
Could you
It's been a short, like about 6 months, but looking back, reflecting on that time, like you've grown a lot. What did you ever expect that you'd be where you're at today?
I don't think so. Not where I am in life now. Like I would have thought maybe later on in life. I just think like the biggest thing that like is different is just having the opportunity to like work with people where like everyone is like treated on the same level. And I never would have thought I would have like been in a job like that. It's super cool because like all of our ideas are valid, and I think working in a place like that is something I never would have thought I would be at, or where I would be.
Yeah. One last question. How has all this affected you, like in your personal lives? Like, what's changed the most in your personal life through all of this?
It's tremendously, man. Like I have a stable job. I have a stable income. I have my own car. I have my own house. Like,
Car's better than mine, bro.
yeah. So it just gave me an opportunity to see life in a different way, and it's just wonderful.
Awesome. What about you, Brie? How has this affected you in your personal life?
I think the biggest way it's affected me in my personal life is just like being a part of this apprenticeship has like given me the confidence to like push myself to like try new things and to like go after like the things that I want to do for myself, like personal projects or things like that, and just knowing that like I can figure it out and I can do it. I think that's the biggest area, just like having that extra confidence.
Yeah, it's awesome. What about you, Miguel?
Honestly, it's made like a crazy amount of like how much my life has changed. Being like stuck in situations from when I first started. Like I wasn't in like the best situation when I first started, like living wise or even financially. You know, a lot of bills come up from being previously incarcerated, such as probation, and you have to pay how long you were in there, court fees, and a lot of other stuff that adds up. And when you don't think you can pay it off, you just think like you're eventually stuck on going back, or now your credit's ruined for the future. So now currently I got my own place, got my own car, you know, and it just feels comfortable. I never have to worry about food, or just comfortable life now.
Well, thank you all first and foremost for coming and joining us today and telling us a little bit about yourselves. And thank you all for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next part of National Apprenticeship Week.
Gotta jump up and go.
All right.
You gotta do the meme.
I'm trained.